it going? Y'all don't want to eat no pizza now or what?
Yeah, can we?
Yeah, go ahead. I told him to bring it out. He said, y'all can eat now. Y'all just sit here watching me drink this.
Starbucks.
Who's calling? Let Hamid know that I got the phone open because of the class, man. We can't. Y'all call Hamid real fast.
My phone doesn't work.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right. Sorry we're late getting here. We're talking about current events. Some conversations don't need to be had on a live stream, right?
Oh, yeah, it's just
Man, we were just sitting here talking like a bunch of chicken heads trying to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are y'all ready?
Okay.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. All right, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. I need to go teach in another room or something. Y'all at least got to have a book open. At least Ibrahim, he's got a book open. Pizza in one hand, book in the other. All right. So we're on chapter 193. Babu inna salama yujzi'u min as-sarm. All right, so the chapter, Inna salam, salam obviously means giving salams, assalamu alaikum. Yujzi'u means what? So reward, jazat. All right, min as-sarm. Wa min as-sarm ish? Sarm. Huh? No, because it's a taqatur. You know, the brothers cutting off. You know, like you being the first one to give salams and him returning the salams. It's like a sort of like an expiation type. How did they translate it in your book? Yeah. So yujzi'u, it means that it gives you like the reward in the place of where you would have gotten the sin. All right. So hadith number 414. حدثنا إسماعيل ابن أبي أويس إسماعيل ابن أبي أويس فيه ضعف يسير. He's not ضعيف جدا, but he's got some ضعف. قال حدثني محمد بن هلال ابن أبي هلال. He's مجهول الحال. So Muhammad ibn Hilal ibn Abi Hilal مجهول الحال. All right, there's a poem for you. You like that, or you forgot your poem because you got too caught up with the pizza, right? All right. Mawla ibn Ka'b al-Madhiji. So this hadith is da'if. عن أبيه أنه سمع أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه قال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لا يحل لرجل أن يحجر مؤمنا فوق 3 أيام فإذا مرت 3 أيام فليلقاه فليسلم عليه فإن رد عليه السلام فقد اشترك في الأجر وإن لم يرد عليه فقد برئ المسلم من الهجرة. All right, so the chain of narration here is da'if, but there is a shawahid for aspects of this hadith. All right, for aspects of this hadith, as we're going to see. So Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, he reported that he heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, لا يحل لرجل يحجر مؤمن. So it's not permissible for a man to boycott or to shun, I guess this is the terminology that they're using in the translation, another mu'min فوق 3 أيام, more than 3 days. And notice that he said mu'minan. All right, because obviously mu'min, there would not be a reason for you to boycott him for more than 3 days. Because if you're boycotting a person who's considered a mu'min, then obviously it's something personal. It's not something dini. Because if he was a mu'min, then how could you boycott him in something in the deen if he's considered a mu'min? So I mean, you already see from the word, but this is the part, this is the aspect of the hadith that is authentic. This has shawahid that we've taken in previous hadiths that we've already passed by. He said, فَإِذَا مَرَّتْ ثَلَاثَةُ أَيَّامٍ, and he said, if 3 days have passed, فَلْيَلْقَاهُ. فَلْيَلْقَاهُ, it means that that he should meet him. He should try to find him and look for him and meet him after those 3 days. فَلْيُسَلِّمْ عَلَيْهِ, and he should give him salams. فَرَدَّ عَلَيْهِ salam, and if he returns the salam, فَقَدْ اشْتَرَكَ فِي الْأَجْرِ. So if the person returns the salams to him, then they've shared in the reward. وَإِن لَمْ يَرُدَّ عَلَيْهِ, and if he doesn't respond, if he doesn't return the salams, if he doesn't return the greetings, فَقَدْ بَرِيَ الْمُسَلِّمُ مِنَ الْهِجْرَةِ, then at least the person who is given the salams, the one who greeted his brother, that he is free from making hijrah of his brother. Like he will not get the punishment for those 3 days. He's forgiven because he's attempted to make up with his brother, but the brother continues to cut him off and cut ties with him, to boycott him, to shun him, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, as far as the chain of narration is da'if. Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah also declared the hadith da'if. But as far as the shawahid, the meaning of the hadith is authentic. The meaning of the hadith. And we've passed by the hadith. If the person comes and he gives salams, he said, فَرَدَّ عَلَيْهِ what? فَرَدَّتْ عَلَيْهِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, and the malaika returned the salams. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَرُدْ فَإِشْ فَرَدَّ عَلَيْهِ إِشْ. Huh? Iblis, the shaitan. Yeah, shaitan returns the salams on the other guy if he refuses to return the salam. So I mean, the aspect, like I said, the aspects of this hadith are sahih. The meaning of the hadith, the matan of the hadith is authentic in meaning, but the chain of narration is weak. All right, hadith number 194. Babu at-tafriqati bayn al-ahdath. All right. Phew, man, this is not even coffee, man. This is just milk and sugar and cream.
What flavor is it?
What flavor? I don't know. That's Majad. I didn't buy it. I told you I was trying to make green tea. He's like, don't make the green tea. I ordered you coffee. So I don't know. All right, so bab. All right, what is it? Bab at-tafriqa. At-tafriqa, it means to separate. Separation. Bayn al-ahdath. Al-ahdath is sin. So it means separating between the younger kids, the younger kids in the house. All right, and as we're going to see through the hadith exactly what it means, even though this hadith is also not authentic. All right, this hadith is also da'if. But the meaning, I mean, is still, the amazing thing that Bukhari did with this book is that even with the hadith that are da'ifa, like, it's still good advice. It's still like, you look at it, you're like, well, the hadith is da'if. We can't say that the Prophet ﷺ said this, but, and this is not even, I think this is a narration going back to Omar. This is not from the Prophet ﷺ, but this is just, but still, we can't affirm that Omar said this, radiallahu anhu, but we can still say that, mashallah, is still good advice. All right. So he said, this is hadith number 415. حدثنا مخلد بن مالك قال حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن مغراء قال حدثنا الفضل بن مبشر وهو ضعيف. فالفضل بن مبشر عن سالم بن عبد الله عن أبوه عبد الله بن عمر. Salim, if you see عن سالم عن أبيه, is Salim ibn Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Abdullah ibn Umar, and Abihi Abdullah ibn Umar. كان عمر رضي الله عنه يقول لبنيه. So Abdullah ibn Umar, he's reporting that Umar used to say to his sons, إذا أصبحتم فتبددوا ولا تجتمعوا في الدار واحدة فإني أخاف عليكم أن تقاطعوا أو يكون بينكم شر. So Umar used to say this to his sons. He said, إذا أصبحتم, أصبح يصبح إصباحا وصبحا is to what? دخل الصبح. دخل في الصبح. Alright, so it means to enter into the morning. So it means either أصبحتم, it means if you've entered into the morning, فتبددوا. فتبددوا, it means what? تفرقوا. تفرقوا, like بدد بأصابعه فرق بينها. Alright, فتبددوا فتفرقوا. It means like if you enter into the morning, he's telling this to his young sons. Each person goes and does something, like don't stay together. Don't stay together. Y'all go do something different. You go over there, you go over there, and you go over there. And each person just doing their own thing, right? He said, وَلَا تَجْتَمِعُوا فِي دَارٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. Don't, come together. And a dar means a house, but here obviously it can mean a house or it can mean a place in the house. Don't congregate together in one spot. He's telling his sons this. All right, فَإِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ أَن تَقَاطَعُوا. Because he's afraid if they stay together for too long, you know how kids are, right? If you keep like 5 or 6 kids together for like an hour, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem. So he's saying this. He said, because I'm afraid that if you all stay together, you're going to start, these 3 are going to stop talking to these 2. If there's 5 kids, these 3 will go against these 2. They're not talking to them. They're turning their backs on them. They're not talking to, and then it's like you start to have all these problems. And taqata'u, aw yakuna bainakum shar, or some type of evil occurs between you if you remain together. Wallahi, it's the truth. Wallahi, it's the truth. Whenever like me and my siblings used to be together, it was every day we would change it. It'd be like me and my sister against my stepbrother, then my sister and my stepbrother against me, then me and my stepbrother against my sister. We're just doing it every day. Like Shaitan's just having a, hey, what can we do today? And this is just normal. It's just normal behavior amongst kids if they remain together. I mean, obviously the kids are well mannered and they know how to, stay together without having these issues. Then it's no problem. Like with them when they were smaller, him and his brother, him and Mujahid fighting all the time. Then when Asad came, Asad and Saif could not be together for more than an hour. Saif would just like you start going crazy, getting angry, and they couldn't stay together. So you always have to like separate them. And I used to tell them that you go to this room, you go to that room, y'all just stay away from each other. Where did you gave me the water, right? And it is this way that you stop the problems in the house, because kids are obviously probably the easiest victim for Shaitan. For Shaitan just to come in and just start causing problems between them.
One time I shit off of it. He was sitting behind the camera for the live stream, and I was sitting behind him. He kept kicking Mujahid's chair. Mujahid kept turning around, like telling him to stop. And I said, "We just keep doing it."
Yeah.
He was getting pissed off.
And you can't stop him until I tell him, you go over there, you go over there. And that's it. So like I said, the hadith is not authentic, but the advice, it's very good advice. Very, very good advice. Almost, if you didn't know that the chain of narration was not authentic, you would think it's authentic just because how true this is. All right, so chapter 195. Babu man ashara ala akhihi wa lam yastashirhu. Ashara here, it does not mean, ashara aslan in the Arabic language, it means what? To point. All right, to point at somebody. Because I'm not checking the chat. So, like, yushiru ila shay, it means to what? To point. Ishara is to point. And also you can also call the light, like the red light, green light, is ishara. Yeah, because it signals. It's like a signal is also the ishara. Because when you're pointing at something like the shir ilayhi, is you're signaling, you're telling, something to somebody, right? But this is not the meaning here. All right. Because here you see from the second part, he said, Man ashara ala akhi. Ala akhihi when lam yastashirhu. When lam yastashirhu, it means what? Like you're giving guidance to somebody, but they're not, even if they don't seek it. They're not seeking it from you, but you give it because he needs it. He needs to be pointed in the right direction, whether or not he asks for it or he didn't. You know, how did they translate this in your book?
Someone giving advice to his brother when he was not asked.
It's not like advice. It's like I said, it's like direction, giving the person what, like direction. You know, but I mean, I guess in English you could probably translate it as advice. You know, because that's what the ishara is. You're pointing them in the right direction. You know, but yastashiruhu, it's istisharatan. It means to what, that you're seeking that. You're seeking to be pointed in the right direction. Right? Point me in the right direction. Tell me where to go. Tell me how to do this. Right. So that's yastashiru. All right. So this hadith, hadathana. This is 416. حدثنا عمرو ابن خالد قال حدثنا بكر عن ابن عجلان محمد بن عجلان صدوق فيه ضعف يسير أن وهب ابن كيسان أخبره وكان وهب أدرك عبد الله بن عمر أن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما رأى راعيا وغنما في مكان قبيح ورأى مكانا أمثل منه فقال له ويحك يا راعي حولها فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كل راع مسؤول عن رعيته. All right, so this hadith, the asl of it is in Bukhari and Muslim. The asl of this hadith, what Ibn Umar is quoting from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in the Sahihain. So the asl of this hadith is authentic. All right, so he said, Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, he said ra'a ra'iyan, that he saw ra'iyan. What is a ra'iyan? Huh? الذي يرعى. All right, so a shepherd. All right, he's out there with his flock, shepherding his flock. All right, وغنما, ghanam, the sheep and the goats and all that. في مكان قبيح. قبيح, it comes from قبح. قبيح, القبح. It means like it actually means ugly. All right, like for example, like wajhun qabih, like for example, like an ugly face. But here, what he means by al qabih, it means that there's not a lot of greenery. There's not a lot for the animals to eat from. Maybe this is an area where like there's not a lot of rain, that like the land that doesn't retain a lot of the rainwater, so nothing a lot of it grows. And he saw another place. But he looked over, he said, وَرَآ مَكَانًا أَمْثَلَ مِنْهُ. He saw a place that was better than this place that the kid was, what's the word that I'm looking for in English? When you allow, where he was like allowing the goats to graze, the sheep and the goats to graze. He saw a place that was greener and nicer. So فَقَالَ لَهُ وَيْحَكَ, oh, woe to you, ya ra'i, oh shepherd. حولها, حول يحول تحويلا means what? Yeah, تغيرهم من مكان إلى مكان or حالا إلى حال. All right, to change something from one place to another or from one state to another. All right, and that goes back to the statement لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. So the people translating la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah is saying we have no strength and no power except with Allah is incorrect translation. How do they translate it, people in the chat? How do you translate la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah? Huh? مجد جيب لهم ما الذي يستطيع يغسل أيديهم فيه. Now he's gonna bring like a bowl or something. That way everybody can wash their hands. Y'all finished already?
Yeah.
What are y'all like on a diet or something?
Like 4 pieces.
Huh?
4 pieces.
I'm just taking a break.
Those things are big.
How many do you eat? 2.
I'm eating more later.
Plus, I had a 3x3 for in and out.
I did too. Yeah, I guess do that.
Nah, Hamid, don't give me the correct translation. Give me the way that the people actually translate it. And I want the way the people actually translate it. Because the way that they translate it is wrong. And we've spoken about this in the previous lesson. Because we said la hawla, it means لا تحول. It means that I have no ability to change the state that I'm in. من شر إلى خير, from evil to good, except for with the assistance and help of Allah. ولا قوة, and I have no strength to change my situation from bad to good, from evil to good, except for with the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the correct understanding of la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. But to sit here and translate it and say that there's no strength and there's no might, that is an incorrect translation, because al-hawl doesn't mean strength. Al-hawl here, it means at-tahawwul. It means to change from one state to another, or one place to another. So you want to change from a state of poverty to richness. You want to change from a state of sinfulness to righteousness. You want to change from a state of relying on people to relying on Allah. All of these is a tahawwul. And for you to do that, you can only do it with the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right. So he said, where am I at now? رأى راعي وغنما في مكان قبيح ورأى مكانا أمثل منه فقال له ويحك يا راعي حولها. So he's telling them to take the sheep and turn them around and go to the other place, change the place that they're grazing at. فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, because I heard the messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم say, كل راع, every shepherd, مسؤول عن رعيته, is responsible for his flock. Obviously, he's giving the literal meaning, like the actual meaning of an actual ra'i, with an actual flock. But we also understand it to mean what? That every person who's put in any type of position of responsibility over people, that he's responsible for all the people that are what? That are under him. Yeah. That he's responsible for. So he's responsible to make sure that they understand everything they need to understand to be Muslim, to practice the deen correctly. They need to know Tawheed, they need to know the Sunnah. And anybody who doesn't do this, and he's been put over a people, and he doesn't do this, he fails to do this, and khalas, huwa ghashin li ra'iyati. That he's a person who's what? Deceived and tricked and duped the people that he's responsible for. And he's going to be held to account for that on the Day of Judgment. Allah musta'an. So, all right, this shows, all right, what's the shahid of the hadith? Because we look at the chapter. The chapter said, Babu man ashara ala akhihi when lam yastashirhu. What's the shahid of the hadith? Where's the evidence? Right? What part of the hadith connects to the chapter heading? No. What's the connection between this hadith and the chapter heading? Yeah, when he told him, he said, Wayhak ya ra'i, hawilha. He gave him advice. He gave him like ishara. He pointed him in a better direction. He said, hey, hawilha, go over there. He didn't ask him for this. He didn't ask him, hey, excuse me, do you know a better place that I could be grazing my sheep? He didn't ask him. But he told him because he's looking out for him. He wants good for him. You know, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. You know that none of you will believe until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. So keep eating that pizza. Because I love that pizza for myself. So make sure you eat 6, 7 slices. Just so the people can understand that if they were to eat 6 or 7 slices of this pizza, we'll be ending this class off in the hospital. There's you ain't eating no.
One of those slices is like 2 normal slices.
And that thing's full of meat too, like chicken. That's all chicken. That's the only pizza I've ever seen in my life where the chicken like outdoes the bread.
You can't even see the.
You can't see the cheese, akhi. You can't even see the cheese. I don't think that they don't have this place in the rest of America, so we need to explain what this place is, right?
What is it? The curry kitchen or whatever?
Curry pizza. Like basically they take Indian food and they put it on pizza. So like that, the red one is what? What do y'all think that is?
Red chicken.
Red chicken. What?
They don't have nothing called that.
No, they don't.
Fiery chicken.
All right.
Chicken.
Oh yeah, curry chicken.
When is curry chicken red?
Mayonnaise.
You know I'm writing a book about y'all, right?
I don't know what that could be. Tomato chicken. What makes it red?
Yeah.
Oh, that I seen that stuff they put on it on YouTube before.
It's called tandoori.
Yeah, then they cook it on the walls of the.
That's tandoori chicken, and the other one's butter chicken. That one's just plain chicken. That's not Indian food. That one that you're eating from over there, that's just chicken. But that one's butter chicken, and that one's tandoori on a pizza. Yeah, boy, that thing is good, man. Anybody doubts that? Huh? What? Yeah, it's just chicken pizza. That's all. I bought that. Oh, I didn't buy it because Majed bought it. But we always buy like one chicken pizza just in case Essa doesn't want. No, but he didn't eat that. He ate the butter chicken one. Yeah.
The red one's good.
The red one's got green peppers, so he doesn't like green peppers. Yeah.
Don't they make you like swell up?
They make me sick, man. What, green peppers? Yeah. But I'm already sick, so I don't see what. I like ate 2 or 3 of them on accident. Yeah, with that one. I forgot that they were in there. We'll see. Inshallah. Khair. All right. We're going to take one more hadith, inshallah. I'm sorry. I just glanced at the chat. Probably shouldn't do that when I'm still reading hadith, but I just saw the last thing where it says, saw someone sharing Sharia compliant life insurance. Is that even halal? Yeah, that's about as halal as selling like a Sharia compliant alcohol and weed. Yeah. I'm writing a book about them too. They're a part of that book too, man. Crackhead Diaries. Hey man, I want one of those Sun. Man, I can't drink the Sun Kiss because he already loaded me up with sugar with this drink, man. I want a Sun Kiss, man. Mujahid, I will never forgive you. Astaghfirullah. Don't ever say that to your children. All right. It's his fault. He bought me coffee. All right. Now, Bab 196. Bab man kariha amthal as-saw. Amthal as-saw, not soup, as-saw. All right. So babu man kariha. Man kariha, obviously to hate, to dislike, to despise. Amthal from the what? Amthal from methal, from an example. Amthal as-saw. It means that what? That you have a bad example being made of you, right? So, and we understand that, and what is showing is showing the impermissibility of giving an example, an evil example for what? For a believer. Like you don't say like to a believer, oh man, he's like a dog. He's a believer, akhi. How could you give an example of a dog, a filthy creature, to one of your brothers who's a believer? You understand? I mean, this is a method of soap. You know, and like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned in the Quran, He said, لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ وَإِيش مَثَلَ الصَّوْء. The people who don't believe in the last days, in Yawm al-Akhir, what? مَثَلَ الصَّوْء. That they have the bad example. The bad example is for them. The evil example is for them. They're the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He spoke about in these types of examples in the Quran. These people that don't believe in the last days, they're not in the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِلَّهِ مَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the highest example. The highest example is for Allah. And the highest example amongst the people is the people who what? Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That they have the example of righteousness. They have the example of good. So it's not permissible to give this type of example for a Muslim. To say that a Muslim is like, you know, and talk about like an animal, comparing him to another animal, or comparing him anything that's going to lower his status. Because even if you were to compare it to a kangaroo and say, oh man, he jumps like a kangaroo, you're still disrespecting him because you're comparing him to an animal. You understand? You're comparing him to a creature that doesn't even have an aql. So you're like lowering the status of the person, and especially if you're doing it in a way that's like disrespectful. Like saying he's like a donkey, or he's like a dog, or he's like a pig. You know, and these types of examples that are meant to disrespect the person, and these types of examples are not permissible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He used these examples for people that have gone against His guidance in the Quran. Or we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا تَوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, you know, talking about Bani Israel, that those that were given the Torah, and you know, and they were given this knowledge, وَلَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا, but they didn't act upon it. They didn't take that knowledge and they didn't implement it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ وَش كَمَثَلِ what? Huh? Al-Himari yahmilu asfara. He's like a donkey who's just carrying books on his back. So if you like have all this knowledge, but that knowledge doesn't make you a better person, that knowledge doesn't, and you're not implementing that knowledge amongst the people. So could you imagine, again, I go overseas and I study the religion, but I come back and I sit with people smoking weed and drinking alcohol, people disobeying Allah. Have I benefited from this knowledge? So all the books that I have in my house and all the, you know, all the stuff it's just like what? It's like books on the back of a donkey. You know, so this is the type of comparison that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given for these types of people who have gone against His guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentioned in the Quran, He said, وَاتَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا فَأَتْبَعُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ, you know, recite to the people. وَاتَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأ. A naba is what? Like a khabar, like a truthful speech. And this is where we get the word an-nabi. You know, because yunbi'u bil haq. Yunbi'u, you know, he informs the people. This is one of the statements of where the word nabi comes from the word anba'a. Anba'a, which is a naba, which is a khabar, which is to give somebody truthful information. So he said, recite to them the information that was given to them. Naba alladhi ataynahu, the information that was given to you about the people, about the person. Ataynahu what? Ayatina. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them His signs, showed them His signs, given them the truth, given them knowledge. Fansalakha what? Fansalakha, what does that mean? Huh? Fansalakha minha, it means that he left out of it. He got it, like after he understood the truth and after he knew the truth, he left out of the truth. He left it. And in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, he compared the insilakh, you know, from like a al-hayya. Tansalakhu an jildiha. You know, min jildiha. Like a snake, you know, when it's shedding its skin, how the snake goes out of the skin and just leaves that skin behind. But this person is like that. He leaves his deen behind after the knowledge has come to him. So he said, فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. So once he left off the truth and acting upon the truth, فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. Then shaitan followed up with him and said, hey, I got something for you. Then what did he become? مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. All right, the al-ghawin, it means that he became a deviant. He deviated completely from the truth. He started to obey shaitan after the guidance had been made clear to him. Now, imagine the person has done this now, after all the truth has been made clear to him. It's when you start looking at it, I'm starting to think the sound's not working or something. Huh? Oh, I'll tell you. So, after the truth has been made clear to him. So, what type of example does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make for him? Huh? فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ وَلَوْ شِئْنَا لَرَفَعْنَاهُ بِهَا. And then what did he say? Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if we had willed, we would have raised them up with this knowledge that we've given them. وَلَكِنَّهُ أَخْلَدَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. But he what? He decided that he wanted to seek his eternity on this earth. He wanted this earth. He didn't want what was with Allah. He didn't want the akhirah. He didn't want what, you know, he didn't believe in the day of judgment. He didn't believe, he wants it now. He wants to, وَلَكِنَّهُ أَخْلَدَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. فَأَتْبَعَ wait, wish? وَأَتْبَعَ هَوَاهُ وَأَتْبَعَ هَوَاهُ. All right, and he followed his desires, right? And he followed his desires for مَثَلَهُ. Now here's the example. So what type of example does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him? فَمَثَلَهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكُهُ يَلْهَثْ. So this is the example now. This is the method of soap. This is the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets for the person now. He leaves off the following of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sitting down. After he's seen the ayat, he's seen it, he understood it, he has knowledge of the deen. He follows shaitan, obeys shaitan, follows his desires, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ what? كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ. Like his example is like the example of a dog. And تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَث. If you tasjuruhu, if you like tell him shoot, 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 and you try to tell him to go away, he sits there and pants. Sits there and pants. And if you leave him, he sits there and pants. You know, and what does this mean? What's this example mean? Huh? It means that no matter if you warn him or don't warn him, he's going to remain the way he is. Stuck to the earth, doing what he wants to do, following his desires with no concern of the next life, no concern of the akhirah. It doesn't matter. You can give him advice. You could, you could warn him. You can scare him, try to scare him and tell him about the hadith, about Jahannam, or you could just leave him. Whatever you do, he's going to remain the same. Nothing's going to change in his behavior. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared him to a dog. So, I mean, these types of examples of people are people that have gone away from guidance. These examples are not used amongst believers. So he said, Babu man kariha amthal. So whoever hates that these examples be made amongst the believers. But whoever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made these examples of, we should also repeat these examples to the people that are deserving of what? These examples, the people that give up the deen because they want to make money, because they want to be rich and famous, because they want status on YouTube or whatever the case is. Okay. فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِنْ تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكْهُ يَلْهَثْ. I mean, so we're going to say that example for the person that deserves it. But as far as believers, then no, it's not permissible to compare any believers to these types of animals. Anything that's disrespectful. All right, so 417. حدثنا أبو نعيم قال حدثنا سفيان الثوري عن أيوب عن إكرمة عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ليس لنا مثل الصوت العائد في هبته كالكلب يرجع في قيئه. So Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما, he said that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said ليس لنا مثل الصوت. He said that we don't have an example, like a bad example for us. He's talking about what? The believers. Like for the believers, that this example is not for the believers. And he's gonna give an example of what a method of soap, that saying that a believer would never do something like this. This is not the behavior of a believer, so he should never be deserving of this type of statement. So he said, Al-a'idu fi hibatihi. What does that mean? Al-a'id. Al-raji'. All right, so the person who returns, ani fi hibatihi. Hibatihi what? It's a gift. Like you give a gift to a person and you go and you take the gift back from the person. That's al-a'id, because he's returning the gift. Like, so it's like basically like, give me that gift back. I don't think you deserve it anymore. Like, or whatever. He goes back and he takes the gift back after he's given it to somebody. So he said that the person who's done this, كَالْكَلْبِ يَرَجِعُ فِي قَيْئِهِ. So it's like a dog who vomits and then he goes back to his vomit and eats it. So the comparison of a person who gives a gift and then takes the gift back is like a dog who vomits and then he feels hungry and then he goes back and eats his vomit out of hunger. Allahumma stan. How did they translate it like that or what?
The one who takes his gift back is like the dog who returns to his own vomit.
Yeah, but he returns to it like he eats it. Especially if he's hungry and he doesn't find any other food, he'll go back and eat the food that he threw up. So, I mean, that's just showing like this most despicable sickness. Like it's a sick trait for a person to have this. And this hadith is authentic. All right. And like I said, the main thing is laysa lana mathalu saw. The believers do not have this type of example. So it's not permissible to be making these types of examples of believers. So you cannot say, oh man, he eats like a pig. Oh, he like what else? What's another thing that the people say here that's so common? Huh? I mean, they say, yeah, that's my dog. I mean, for a Muslim to call another Muslim a dog, yeah, come on, man, that's not permissible. One is tashbih. It's imitating the kuffar and their language. It's specific for them, and you're not even imitating the kuffar. You're imitating the worst of the kuffar. Yeah, you're imitating like street criminals. You know, it's like, subhanAllah, if you're going to imitate the kuffar, why don't you imitate doctors and lawyers? Why don't you imitate somebody that's going to be some type of benefit to society, but you want to go and imitate the worst of the worst, you know, crackheads and crack dealers and, you know, gang members and all this type of stuff. That's imitating the worst. You know, at least if you try to imitate a doctor, imitate a lawyer, you know, imitate those students with a 4.5 GPA, at least you benefit something in this life. You're not benefiting in akhirah, but at least you might be productive in some way. And you're definitely not going to be out on the streets doing stupidity. Huh? Ish? Yeah, Ammi. Yeah, that's not an animal though. Yeah. But I mean, saying something in the response to like something that's positive, Allah knows best. But I mean, they mentioned about that one Sahabi that raced the horses. They used to call him Sabiqul Khuyul, but they didn't call him a horse. They didn't say he's as fast as a horse. They what? Sabaq? Huh? Oh, because I gave him he read about him. Like I told him, like, read about him. Huh? Yeah, in Jacksonville. So yeah, I mean, comparing somebody to animals is not permissible. Muhammad Fatima, I think has a family member, if I'm not mistaken. I saw the message from Abdul Malik, the nephew. I don't know what the status is. Maybe Muhammad Fatima can let us know the status of the nephew. And his throat swelled up the other day. And Muhammad Fatima was requesting everybody to make dua for him. So please, everybody, you know, whenever you get a chance, just make dua for him. You know, Allah mashfi. Allah mashfi. Allah mashfi. So inshallah, Muhammad Fatima, let us know what the status is, inshallah. All right, questions?
Okay.
Oh, you're on duty today?
No, I just got two specific ones I need to ask.
That tastes like caramel, man.
Okay. What is the ruling on putting your business card on a table in the masjid or giving out the business cards at the doors of the masjid?
Not permissible.
Not permissible.
So Hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu. You know, I need to go check the wording of the second narration of the Hadith, but the first narration, he said, إذا رأيت من ينشد ضالة في المسجد فقل لا ردها الله عليك. But the other hadith, the other narration from Abi Hurairah, it has to do with tijara. إذا رأيت رجلا يتجر في المسجد فقل لا بارك الله لا أربح الله تجارتك. Look at go check the wording of the hadith online. But it's in Bulugh al-Maram. But he said if you see a person doing business or trade in the masjid, then you should make the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not allow his business to prosper. That you make dua against his business, that it does not prosper. The masjid is not used for business purposes, to advertise businesses, to advertise anything like that. The masjid is not a lost and found agency where you get up and you try to announce like things that are lost. If you have an issue, go to the board of the masjid and ask them if they've seen something that you lost, but not to get up in the masjid and make these announcements and do all this and business and stuff. And the masjid is not for the purpose of business.
What about outside?
Huh?
What about
Outside of the gates of the masjid, he can do whatever he wants. But when he's within the compound of the masjid, then no. So my son, he found that. All right, let me see which. He said, إذا رأيتم من يبيع أو يبتاع في المسجد فقولوا لا أربح الله تجارتك. وإذا رأيتم من ينشد فيه ضالة فقولوا لا ردها الله عليك. So here the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He said, if you see a person selling or doing trading in the masjid, then say, no, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not allow your business to prosper, like that you get no profit in your business. And if you see a person asking about something that he lost in the masjid, then you should say to him that may Allah never return it to you. So this is not a place for tijara. It's not a place for advertising your business, posting businesses. As Muslims, we should, amongst each other, we should support Muslim businesses anyways, but not advertising them in the masjid. I mean, you can have a masjid newsletter or something like that, something where you send out to the community and you can advertise those businesses and something like that. If the people need to know, but they need to be informed of like what businesses, what restaurants, and start a newsletter and put these businesses in the newsletter. But to have that being advertised in the masjid is not permissible.
How to advise older female relatives and cousins to wear the correct hijab and properly cover themselves. There is kind of a barrier since they are women and older by a good bit.
I keep quoting that line of poetry from Zuhair, and you guys keep asking the same question that you could go back to that line of poetry. You know, dealing with older people that, you know, that don't want to straighten out their behavior is a very, very difficult task. You know, and that's why Zuhair, he said that in his poem. He said, إن السفاهة شيخي لا حلم بعده وأن الفتى بعد السفاهة يحلمي. He said, فإن السفاهة, he said, verily the foolishness of an old man, he said he'll never have any correct behavior. Like he'll never straighten up after he acts. If he's acting like a fool in his old age, he'll never act right. It's over for him. He's gonna die a fool. You know, because that's the behavior that he's just accepted, that I'm just gonna be like this, and he's not gonna change. But he said, but he said, but the young man, after he acts like a fool, yahlumi, that he'll act correct. His behavior will straighten out. Like he can start to have wisdom and control over his emotions and start to act in a non-foolish way. So it's very hard dealing with older people because they're really set in their ways, and they're very adamant about accepting that they're wrong, that they've been taught wrong, and that they've been practicing something like their whole lives with the incorrect understanding. So you have to be very patient with them. Give them advice. If you see that they're not accepting of it, back off. Don't argue with them. Don't try to, like, you know, go back and forth. Just like if you see that they're open to the advice, give them advice. If you see them start to get standoffish and defensive, then back off, because you don't want to cause problems with, you know, we have to respect our elders. Even if they're doing wrong, there has to be some type of level of respect. And we're not trying to go out and disrespect them and belittle them in front of the people, you know. So, you know, just use wisdom. Use wisdom when you're dealing with the older people. And in some scenarios, it's better to say nothing than it is to say something. Because saying something, if it's going to cause more problems than saying nothing, then saying nothing is much better. And Allah knows best.
What is the actual name of Abu Hurairah and what Imam al-Bukhari mentions for the opinion of the majority?
There's no specific. I mean, Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah, he's the one that chose the name Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr. It's 24 different names for Abu Hurairah. But throughout the narrations, all the narrations that I've ever read is that Abu Hurairah always referred to himself as Abu Hurairah. You know, Abu Hurairah. So that was what he was known for. And what his exact name is, Allah knows best. Like I said, there's more than 24 different opinions about what his name is.
Rashad al-Ghawri mentions his autobiography that he would memorize 10 hadith and take a total of 7 to 8 proofs a day while revising. I cannot do half of that. How can someone take that amount of study load every day?
He didn't start off like that. You got to understand that. Sheikh Rashad, he might be talking about, you know, what he was doing at the pinnacle of his studying. But people don't start off like that. You start off with, you know, what you can do. If you can only read a juz a day, if you can read one juz a day and 15, 20 hadiths a day, start off with that. Do that every single day. And then just keep adding to it, adding more days to it, you know. Just, you know, everything is gradual. Everything has to be done gradually. If you try to, you know, you read like what these students of knowledge do even nowadays, and you try to do what they do, you know, look, man, I can't do what I was doing in Damaj right now. If I tried to do what I was doing in Damaj right now, I would probably, my head would explode. You know, the amount of reading and the amount of memorization, and amount of classes that we were taking on a daily basis and everything, I couldn't do right now what I was doing. I'd have to gradually work my way back into doing that again. So, it's just it's the reality. You have to just do what you can. You're not trying to outpace Sheikh Rashad. You're not trying to outpace Sheikh Abdul Hamid. You're not trying to outpace Sheikh Yahya. And I dare you to try to outpace Sheikh Yahya. Nobody could outpace Sheikh Yahya. And that's why I tell you, man, people, they run their mouths about him, but they don't know that, man. Nobody could outpace him as far as memorization and research and just having information on point. But the thing is you got to understand that he didn't start like that. He started the same way that you have to start, little by little. He also had to memorize al-Usul al-Thalatha. He also had to memorize Bulugh al-Maram. He also had to memorize Kitab al-Tawheed. First off, he had to memorize the Quran, obviously. And he also he had to memorize al-Arba'in al-Nawawiyah, and he loved al-Arba'in. He used to quote from al-Arba'in. In fact, that was the first book that he taught Sheikh Yahya when he opened the Markaz in Ma'rib. The first book that he taught outside of what he was already teaching was al-Arba'in, out of his love for that book. So, he had to do those things first. He studied al-Ajrumiyah before he studied Alfiyah. He studied these, most of these people that you see, they're not like super gifted. They work hard and they work smart. They do things gradually. They start to do, increase gradually. I told you, there's no way I could just start today and just turn it on and just do what I was doing. But no, it's just, but I could work back to doing it because, the muscle memory is there. But, it's like you have to be gradual about it. Be smart about it. You're not trying to burn yourself out. So inshallah khair. Don't look at what he's doing now, but go to Sheikh Rashad and ask him, how much were you doing when you first started seeking knowledge? What was your schedule like when you first started seeking knowledge? And you see a difference, inshallah. Start off small, start off easy, and work your way up, inshallah. You quit now? All right. Back to our original question asker.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
I hope you are well. Can you share a story from Yemen that makes you laugh or smile whenever you remember it?
Offhand? The only one that makes me laugh is that old man that got hit by the car, man. Y'all remember that story?
On the highway or something?
Yeah, like he was in the car, stopped and hit the brakes and hit that old dude. He was walking across the highway with his stick, man. And the taxi stopped and bam, hit him. I'm like, this dude's dead. And he got up. He got up with his stick, because those old guys, they walk with the stick, and he started beating the taxi with the stick, akhi. And he's like, Ya akhi, it's fake. Ma tubsirni. He's like, you don't see me? What's wrong with you? And he's hitting the taxi with the stick. And I'm in a taxi on the other side of the street. We're laughing, akhi. We're laughing so hard, man.
You can hear him yelling?
Yeah. He's yelling that loud. He's on the other side of the highway. I can hear exactly what he's saying. And it was so funny, man. It's so funny. I was like, that is like an image of Yemen, akhi, that will. There was another time, this wasn't funny when it happened, but it was funny afterwards. Like, two guys got in an argument in the car, and one of the big guys, he just jumped out and grabbed his jambia. He pulled his jambia out and went to go stab the other guy. The other guy ain't gonna stand there and get stabbed, so they're just running around the car. He's got a Shoss. They call it a Shoss. I don't know what they call this. The Land Cruiser. It's a specific type of Land Cruiser. They don't make this in America. These types of Land Cruisers, they only send them over to Dubai, to Yemen, to the village. This is like a tribal truck, right? It's called a Shoss. Show it to them on the. No, this is. I think it's not a Hilux. This is a. Is it called a Highland? What is it called? They call it a Shoss, akhi. Now you won't see these in America. Normally what they're gonna do is they're gonna the tribes will put a 50 caliber machine gun on the back of it. But the guy was in one of those, and he jumped out with his jambia and just chasing this guy around. And akhi wallahi, I'm just sitting there looking at the taxi. The taxi driver's not moving. I'm like, go, man. This is just an episode of Tom and Jerry, akhi. Come on. What do you want to watch the guy get stabbed? If you're not gonna stop it, go, man. I'm gonna sit here and watch the dude get killed. But I mean, he didn't catch him. They were just running around. Finally, because the guy with the jambia, he's a big dude. He got too tired. He's just like, man, forget it. He got in his car and left, you know. But when I thought about it later, it was just like funny, just the way that they were running around. It was like a Tom and Jerry episode, man. What's that? Oh, that's 30. Yeah, they do some stupid stuff with the cars, man.
How do they get to do that? How do they train?
They have something when they run and it knocks it, and they just go on those two wheels. Huh?
Where do you get one of those?
No, it's like something that just it's like a ramp.
Oh.
They run it up a ramp and then it goes like that.
Is it hard to do?
I don't know. I would never waste my time doing stupid stuff like that. What's the benefit? Huh? You would do it, yeah, I know. You and Yahya be over there on, Golden State, whatever, doing two wheelies in your new car, right?
Yeah, I'd be pressed up against the window.
Jambia is a type of dagger that they have in Yemen. You look it up online, inshallah. You see a picture of it. What's the next question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's the rule on a Muslim saying Bismillah for cutting multiple chickens at the same time at a facility? Is that okay?
If he's cutting them all at once and he's saying Bismillah for all of the ones he's cutting all at once, inshallah khair.
What about like
As long as his intention is for all of them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
What do you mean?
Like he does one and then like rapidly he kills one and then does.
No, you gotta say Bismillah for each one. I'm saying if you grabbed all, like if there was some way that how would you do that anyways? Grab you could, I guess, pull the necks back like that and maybe have 3 and cut them all at once. Maybe it'd still be kind of hard, man, because the chickens, they move, and you gotta hold one, like you have to hold his head back like that just to keep his body down. I don't know how you would do that with 2 or 3 at a time. So if you can't kill them, it's better just to kill them all at one at a time and say Bismillah for everyone. Khalas, and that way there's no lack of clarity, inshallah, no doubt.
Can you share a story when the Sheikh recited the poem, I passed by these walls, the walls of Layla, and I kissed this wall and that wall. That wall is not love of the houses that has taken my heart, but one who dwells in those houses.
What are you talking about when he used to quote that poem all the time? Because that's you used to say like every time that the different shuyukh used to come to Damaj, they used to say those lines of poetry because it's saying like basically it's not I'm kissing the wall, but it's not the wall that I love, it's not the house that I love, but it's the person that used to dwell in this house, which was Layla, because this was about Majnun of Layla. Qais was he loved this girl Layla, like ever since they were like little kids, and he wanted to grow up and he wanted to marry her. Well, part of her, like the customs of her tribe, is that they're not allowed to marry their daughters to poets. So he messed up one day and he recited a poem to her. Her father overheard it and he said, "That's it, you can't marry him now." And that destroyed him, and then he became known as Majnun al-Layla because he wrote all of his poetry, about this girl, about this girl named Layla. So I mean, they used to recite those lines of poetry all the time.
Instead, I heard that the fuqaha coming out of Al-Azhar are very strong. Is this true? Please let me know a strong scholar that has refuted Al-Azhar, because I know someone that keeps calling them prestigious.
I would never take anything from anybody from Al-Azhar. Never. Never. I would not agree that they're the strongest. I would agree that out of all the universities now, maybe at a time, there was a time, but I mean, they've always been on the aqidah of the Ash'ariyah, and they're known, like their fatwa. If you see the people of the Sunnah will give fatwa with one thing, the Azharis will give a fatwa with something else. So their support for Khomeini during the Iranian Revolution, and they haven't gotten much better since then. So I don't agree with that at all. They're the strongest. I don't know, maybe somebody's living in the past, and what year of the past they're living in. I don't ever remember of people going back to them for fiqh, for hadith, You know, they were accepted. There was a period of time, maybe like 30, 40 years ago, where it's like if you were graduated from Al Azhar, you were like, you know, it was like something big. But they've always been on, you know, their aqidah has always been corrupt. The type of madhahib that they take in aqidah and fiqh are also, they take a lot of the weaker opinions. So, nah, I don't agree with it at all.
I seen a clip of one of like their imams or something. They were saying like like I forget exactly what it said, but he was saying something like that he would call like the Christians his brothers.
Akhi, look, the Wahdat al-Adyan, you know, not the Wahdat al, you know, this whole interfaith movement has its roots in Al-Azhar. Shaving the beard and saying that it's not wajib has its roots in Al-Azhar. It's bal al-thob, and you know that this is not, it's not wajib, it's not obligatory. It has its roots in Al-Azhar. If you see like all of these fatwa that go against the Quran and the Sunnah, music being halal, how are you going to sit there and you know you go and you study fiqh with a mudarris in Al-Azhar who listens to like Kulthum? I'm talking about the singer. You know, this famous Egyptian singer back in the day. She's like, I don't know, she's dead. She's not dead. She's like 190 years old. But the point is like they used to like listen, like Sha'rawi used to smoke cigarettes and listen to music. You know, it's like, come on, dude. It's like, what are you, where is this information coming from? You know, it must be coming from Fox News or something, Akhi, because it's not CNN, or where is this news coming from that Azhar? No, man.
He said that about the Christians, like comparing them to like, saying you'd rather, I forget exactly what he said, it was something like that, but calling the Christians his brothers before he calls like a Salafi his brother.
Oh, they hate the Sunnah. Oh, they hate the Sunnah, Akhi. Oh, they hate the Sunnah. And they'll smile in your face, boy. Oh, they smile in your face all the time, but boy, they hate you. They hate you. They hate you. You know. So nah, I don't know where that information comes from.
What about can a Sufi be on the correct path?
No. The Sufi can be on the correct path if he makes tawbah and accepts the Quran and the Sunnah and the correct and the Aqidah of the Salaf. Yeah, he can be on the correct path, but he can't be on the correct path as long as he remains a Sufi. Kufar. Al-Ahmadiyya. Kufar. We'll get into that, inshallah, into these different issues in the Sharia, inshallah.
It's like translator number 2. He told me he was like, he goes, oh, I'm actually Salafi. That's what he said.
And he said, I'm an Ash'ari Salafi.
Yeah, well, he admitted that he was an Ash'ari, and then after he goes, oh, you say that like, you say Ash'ari like we're not Muslim. And he goes, I'm also, he goes like, I'm Salafi or I'm also Salafi or something like that.
Idris asked him, like,
saying that,
talking about like, we said that we were Salafi, and he said, oh, so we're not, so the
he was making it seem like I said he wasn't a Muslim.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, so you're saying we're not part of like.
but he said, I'm a Salafi Ash'ari.
Idris asked, like, so are you Salafi? And he said, of course. Yeah.
Salafi Ash'ari is like a straight homosexual. Yeah. That's like, akhi wallahi, that's like two complete opposites.
Oxymoron.
Yeah. Oxymoron at the highest order. That's crazy. Any other questions?
Instead, I saw a video of an imam telling someone to stop selling haram products at a gas station. When they didn't stop, he started protesting outside with women holding signs. What was the right way to handle this situation according to the Quran and the Sunnah?
I mean, the correct way is to, you have the minbar. Use the minbar to warn against this evil. And don't buy from their stores. You don't need to go out and make a spectacle of it. Especially like right now when we're living in this time of like hatred of Muslims. And false propaganda being spread against Muslims. The kuffar are looking for anything that they can do to use against us, or to not to use against us, but to rile up the people against us. Don't give them ammunition. You know, you have the minbar, speak about these things on the minbar. Teach the people, open up the classes and teach the people. Same people going out and protesting them, go ask them how many classes, how much are they teaching fiqh? You know, fiqh in the masjid. Are these issues being taught? Are the people being educated about these issues? I mean, of course, these guys know that there's haram what they're doing. All right, use the minbar. you know, and warn against these things. Use your voice in amongst the Muslim community, but you don't have to turn this into a spectacle where it's like all out in the eyes of the kuffar, and you know, nah, because I mean, whatever they're gonna try to use against us, they're gonna use against us. You know, like I said, for us, it's like if I know that a Muslim is selling alcohol in the store, I don't buy from him. And I let the other people know that's around me, don't buy from him because he has, and that's the way we should deal with things. But see, the thing is most of these guys, they don't make the majority of their money from selling to Muslims. They make the majority of the money selling to kuffar, not to us. So they don't really care if we buy from them or not. You understand? So, Mustafa, the situation that happened in Afghanistan is a difa', is defense. And as far as defense is concerned, then it's an obligation upon everybody that's in that area to stand up and defend that area that's attacked. So if the Soviet Union attacked Afghanistan, then it's an obligation upon everybody in Afghanistan to stand up and defend the country against the Soviets and run them out of their country. That's an obligation, but it's not an obligation upon every single Muslim in the world because it's a difa'. There's no Wali al-Amr. Now, if you have a Wali al-Amr, that's the Wali al-Amr for all of the Muslims. You know, the Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he commands all the Muslims to go out and fight. That's a different issue. We don't have that. So what happened was you had a country attacking another country, kuffar, the worst of the kuffar, which obviously the communists. You can't get a worse kafir than that, you know, that denies the existence of Allah, period, and and kills anybody that believes in the existence of Allah. You know, so you can't get a worse kafir than that. All right, so you know, for them, it's an obligation. And if they can't fulfill the obligation because, you know, they don't have the means, then it goes to the country that's next to them, then the country next to them, until that obligation is met and those kuffar run out the country. You know, but as far as them going around saying that it's an obligation upon every single Muslim in the world, then no, that's false. That's false. And Allah knows best.
How can someone purify their heart from watching years from years of major sins, such as watching adult films?
You have to. The only way that you can cure a sickness is by treating it with the opposite. You know, if you have too much moisture in your body, we mentioned this before, if you have too much moisture in your body, how do you treat it? With more moisture? If you have a sickness in your body, because we mentioned this we talked about this in the last lesson, right? I think it was one of the last lessons of the last time we had class. Maybe not the live stream, but you have four things that cause sickness in the body. Too much moisture, too much dryness, too much heat, too much coldness, right? So if the body, any of these things get out of whack, then what happens is the balance of the body is out of whack. But what's causing it to become out of whack? So if it's becoming out of whack because of the sickness is being caused by too much moisture, if you continue to put things that increase the moisture in the body, what are you doing? You're increasing the sickness in your body. You're weakening your body further. All right. The only way that you can treat this sickness is by what?
That's my shirt.
You have to oppose it. Oppose it with something that's going to dry up the excess moisture. So instead of eating foods that cause moisture, you need to eat foods that what? That dry up that excess moisture. And that's how you cure that sickness. If you have too much heat in the body and the sickness is caused by too much heat in the body, then you keep drinking things or eat things that promote more heat in the body, what happens? You increase the sickness. You have to eat something that's going to what? Cool the body down and bring it back to its balance. So when you go into all these types of sins, you've gotten your mind, your heart is out of balance. It's out of whack. You have to go back and do the opposite. You need to cut off the thing that promotes the sickness and then shut on the thing that what? Promotes the cure. And the Quran, and it's reading the Quran with like tadabbur, like pondering and thinking about the meanings of the Quran and looking at how you can act upon the Quran and trying to seek to understand the Quran. That's the only cure. That is the cure for the sickness. You know, righteous actions are the cure for the sickness. So if you're spending time with that, as long as you continue to feed the sickness is going to continue to remain. The only way that you can, cure that sickness is get rid of the sickness and start promoting the thing that's going to cure and bring balance back, inshallah. And that's the Quran, the shifa. That is your shifat for what's in your heart. So it's the only cure for the heart. Allah knows best.
Instead, should one be close friends with someone who bought a house on a mortgage? What about someone who took student loans?
It depends if the person's ignorant or not. And what I mean by ignorant, I don't mean that he's ignorant like saying that he doesn't understand the interest is haram. I think we all can agree because that's that's ma'lum bil-darura. That's something that's known out of necessity. Like every single Muslim knows the interest is haram. So I'm not talking about that. What I mean by ignorant is that because a lot of these imams, the wishy-washy Azhari imams, the Azhari imams, they're the ones that give this. Oh, there's another fatwa from the Azharis. It is permissible to take student loans and to take mortgages because they say it's a necessity if you're living in America. These are Azhari fatwa. These are from those fuqaha of Azhar. So Allah musta'an. If that person has been duped by those types of people, then I would still give the person the excuse for ignorance, but still you have to advise the person. But if you advise the person, you let the person know the truth, but they still decided to follow their desires, I wouldn't. There's a lot better companions that you can have. So Allah musta'an.
What's the response to those who use slavery as a way to attack Islam, as if it wasn't a thing addressed in other religions?
Slavery was something that was standard in the world, and every single people on on the face of this earth have been slaves at one time or another. It was a common practice going all the way back. So anybody that tries to use that to say that Islam is not the truth is just completely ignorant. Because if that's the case, then there's no truth on the face of this earth, because every people. In fact, the slave trade at that time, as far as the transatlantic slave trade, that was controlled by the little hats. It wasn't controlled by the Arabs, so it wasn't controlled by the Muslims. The Muslims, like that was the whole purpose of taking the business away from the Muslims, and it was where they wanted to find that new route, the route, and where they didn't have to go through the Mediterranean Sea and all this. This is the whole purpose of trying to find this land of America, so they can go around paying the taxes to the Muslims anyways. They wanted to destroy everything that was building up the Islamic economies. And at that time, because of the collapse of a lot of the empires, that was the only trade that they had left that they were making money off of. So they said, we're going to take that away from y'all too. So, to sit there and try to use that as an evidence, that's garbage. That's garbage. Because like I said, they're the biggest promoters of it. So Allah musta'an. Was the grandmothers down south, what did they used to call? They used to say, that's the teapot calling the kettle black. Y'all ever heard that saying before? Yeah, the teapot calling the kettle black. It's like you sitting there, you do the same thing, but then you want to accuse other people of doing the same thing that you do, and you did worse than what the other person did. So, that doesn't mean that Islam is not the truth. And so alhamdulillah, Islam was the first religion that ever came with laws giving slaves rights, relegating it and giving the slaves rights. Nobody, if you look at the treatment of slaves in all the world before Islam came, the treatment was horrible. So instead of sitting there saying like Islam did something great as far as like actually giving rights to women, giving rights to slaves, giving rights to people that didn't have rights before. These things existed before when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was on. It's not like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with this. He came with it, but he with the revelation and relegated it. And the word now it's like the people don't get mistreated. Even if you have a slave, there's certain ways that you have to treat the slave. It's not just like, running around whipping and beating and telling them to do things. No, even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you tell him to do something that he's not able to do, then you help him. He commanded the person to help him with it. First off, you don't command him to do something that he's not able to do, and if you do, then help him. So there was laws relegating this. So these kuffar running around trying to say they're the ones that are running around like barbarians, with nothing, just treating anybody the way that they felt like they wanted to treat them. So again, that's the teapot calling the is that how the pot calling the kettle black. So Allah musta'an. I know Muhammad Fatima's heard that saying before.
They hear the word slave and they think of like kurtikante getting whipped.
Well, that was a made up story anyways.
Well, I know, but that's what when people hear slave, they think of like
Shadow slavery.
people in little wooden shacks and wearing burlap sacks.
Mm.
You know, they don't. It's just like a stereotype or something.
Well, I mean, whatever happened in America has nothing to do with Islam in the first place. So it doesn't have anything, you know. And like I said, as far as like Muslims doing something, that doesn't mean that they're doing things in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah. Just because a Muslim does something doesn't make it permissible, and doesn't mean that he's a representative of Islam if he does it. So, for example, like, you know, selling off, you know, slaves to kuffar and to be mistreated and things like that, and knowing that these things are going to happen, that person who does that doesn't represent Islam. He's not doing that based on the Quran and the Sunnah. He's doing that based on what? He's trying to make money. It's a business for them, you know. So, nah.
If you start reciting the Fatiha before the Imam, is it valid?
Yeah, as long as you recite it before you go into the ruku'.
No.
You can recite it before him, you can recite it with him, or you can recite it after him.
You can recite it
Yeah.
before he starts.
Your obligation is to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Yeah. If you have time to recite it before he starts his recitation, then do it. That way you can focus on what he's saying. Yeah.
You said, what steps can women take to help Ummah, starting with our own knowledge first? What should we also do for our community?
Say what again now?
What steps can women take to help Ummah, starting with our own knowledge?
To help
first?
what?
Ummah.
To help the Ummah.
Yeah. Starting with our own knowledge first, what should we also do for our community?
Start raising your children right. Start putting more emphasis on raising a strong family. Knowledgeable family, a family with, you know, proper morals and proper etiquette. Be a good wife. Be a good, you know, be a good companion to your children. And, you know, because you're going to be the first teacher of the children. And, you know, the teacher they need, you know, the children are going to need a teacher. It's going to teach them right, to show them, you know, the proper Islamic behavior, the proper Islamic etiquette. And that's what you have to be. That's the one. The woman has a, you know, the woman has one of the largest roles, you know, as far as like, you know, one of the most difficult roles, because the types of jobs that the women have to do, we couldn't do. We couldn't do them properly. So, but the women have been taken away from this role because of this Western society and how they tried to paint this is what the modern woman is supposed to be like. If you want to be like the modern woman, then you're going to be lonely. You're going to be a lonely woman with no children, divorcee with a bunch of cats. You know, it's, you know, if that's the modern type of thing. But I mean, Islam, you follow Islam and you follow the understanding of what a good woman is in Islam. And that's what you try to be. You might not change the world. You know, none of us are going to change the world alone. But I mean, just raising up a good household of righteous Muslims, if everybody put that as their focus, every woman started to do that, then alhamdulillah, we have strong Muslim households. You know, this is important. This is very, very important. But our women, I mean, our women have to be, you know, have to be that backbone, have to be that, you know, in the house, doing their job in the house. And I don't mean like just doing their menial chores of like cooking and cleaning. I'm talking about raising up a family of men that are ready to take on responsibility. The man has to do that and the woman has to do it. Everybody has their role raising the children properly and raising the next generation of Muslims. Otherwise, what are we going to raise? We're going to raise the next generation of what? Drug addicts and, you know, convicts or what? I mean, so we need to focus on our families and raising them right. The men and the women, they need to work together. It's not that the woman can't do that alone. And the man should never expect the woman to do that alone. The man has his role, the woman has her role, and each person should be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Working together, you know.
Instead, someone was making a beat using pencils and the table. I went to him and told him that this is music, but he was telling me that beats are not music and how duff is allowed or something like that.
Any music is any aswat al-muttariba. You know, any of the sounds that cause you to want to shake, you know, and move. Anything, whether you're beating on a door, you're making a beat with a door. And a duff is permissible for women. It's not permissible for men. So if he's a man using a duff, well, put a rainbow shirt on, homeboy. No, to use during celebrations only, not to use for any other means. Only for like weddings. Like when they were celebrating a wedding, they would take out the duff and they would beat on it because it doesn't make any, it's just like a tambourine without the tambourine things. You know, so it's just boom, just like a, you know, like an animal skin. It's tied tight where it just makes, you know, it doesn't make a major sound. It doesn't make like a rhythmic sound. So they had that for celebration. That's for the women. It's not for the men. It's not permissible for the men. And if any man would have used that in the time of the woman, in the time of the, not the women, if any man that used that in the time of the Sahaba, they would consider him, yeah, like you need to be thrown off the highest place of the village. Yeah,
If you live, thrown off again.
or according to Ibn Abbas, and have like and throw rocks down on your body once you land, you know. But go ahead. Next question.
That's like these people nowadays, they make these nasheeds and they put like a duff on the background and like they say it's vocals only, but they distort the voice, so it's like
Nah, even distorting the voice.
It's like a bunch
Yeah, you're turning the voice into a rhythm.
Yeah.
That's garbage. It's music.
Somebody said, they said the Hadith, it only says musical instruments are haram. So how is music haram?
You're taking the voice and turning it into a musical instrument.
They say that musical instruments are haram, but music isn't haram.
What?
That's what it said.
That's like saying crack is haram, but smoking crack is not haram.
Yeah, like,
You know, it's not. It's haram to own crack, but it's not haram to smoke it. Hey, what type of foolishness is that? Can you please hand me another water? There you go, Muhammad Fatima. You got your wish. What's that? A tabla is a drum. No, a duf only. Only the duf. So they only use it for celebrations. Yeah.
next question.
Mm.
Should the layman just pick a muhaddith he trusts and take his rulings on the hadith since he does know al-rijal, etc.?
I mean, yeah, you got Sheikh Mubil and you got Sheikh Al-Albani, rahimahumullah. Those are the two biggest imams of hadith of our time. Either one that you choose to take, I mean, who's going to blame you? If you don't have the knowledge to go back and follow up on that hadith and you take the opinions of Sheikh Al-Albani, who's going to blame you for that? Oh, maybe one of those Azhari people would. But I'm just saying, like a person of the Sunnah would never blame you for I'm just going to take the opinions of Sheikh Al-Albani because that's what I feel safe with. If you take the opinions of Sheikh Mubil because you feel safe with that, then who's going to blame you? I mean, if you don't have the knowledge, that's what you're supposed to do. You have to take the knowledge from the people that you trust. And those are the two most trustworthy people as far as like science of hadith in our time. And I add a third one is the Sheikh Muhammad ibn Adam al-Ethiopi. Those three. Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abad also. I would add him as those four together. But as far as like tasheeh wa tad'if, I go with Sheikh Al-Albani, Sheikh Mubil, rahimahumullah.
Ustad, in your latest video, how did you keep nurturing that life for knowledge, and how do you keep doing that?
Again?
In your latest video, how did you keep nurturing that life for knowledge, and how do you keep doing that? Maybe
How did you keep your what?
keep nurturing that.
Oh,
life.
nurturing.
Yeah, that life for knowledge. You didn't love for knowledge, and how do you keep doing that?
I ain't got nothing else. There's no like I cut off any other hope that I had in this life. That's it. I told y'all. I think I told y'all the story, right? It was a story of that wrestling coach. What was his name? What's his name? The Gable guy. What's that guy's name? Look it up. The famous wrestler guy, the Olympic wrestler named Gable. What's his first name? No, his last name's Gable. This guy's from the 70s, man. He defeated like all the Russians. He went undefeated in the, Dan Gable. Dan Gable was like, I mean, he defeated the Russians. They hated him so much that they used to have him like tested for testosterone every match. Like, they would have him like, they said there's no way that he could be beaten. He could be beating us. Dan Gable, he became the coach at Iowa, University of Iowa. Or I think it was the University of Iowa or Iowa State. Look it up. I can't remember. Who cares, man? His life is not important. That's what he said. But he was the coach, and he was the one in charge of recruiting the wrestlers. And he said that whenever he had like one of the top star recruits of the wrestlers, he would ask him. He would say, do you have any other hobbies besides wrestling? And the guy would say, oh yeah, you know, I love to play football. I love playing PlayStation, or like not PlayStation because there was no PlayStation back in the 70s and 80s. I love playing Atari, you know, whatever. You know, and if he said anything other than wrestling, he said he would reject him. And they used to get on him and they used to say, man, how could you reject this guy? He's a state champion, he's a 3-time state champion. He said, I don't want anybody on this team who has a focus outside of wrestling. I want you only to be focused on this, man. And he ended up winning more, I think you could look his life up. I don't know, like more, you know, NCAA championships than any. Like, he was like one of the winningest coaches of his time, right? Like he had the top teams because of that. That's the mindset. When I went to Damascus, there was no fallback plan. There was no plan B. There was no, I put all my eggs into that basket and I said, if I succeed at this, I succeed. If I die, I die. If I don't succeed, then so be it. But I'm not, like, there's no plan B for me. There's no, oh, you know, I want to do other things with this. This was it. You know, so that's it. If that's all you have and that's what defines your life, then why would you give that up? If you give that up, then your life loses its definition, right? You know, it loses its meaning. I mean, because if you base your whole life on that thing, but that's the whole thing that we have to base our lives on something. Just make sure that you're basing it on the right thing. You know, so some people, they strive in their jobs to be the best at their jobs. That's not going to benefit you after your death. As soon as you die, the benefit of what you've been doing your whole entire life stops. You know, so the thing is that we need to put our focus on the thing that's going to, you know, serve us in this life and the next. Nothing, I've never found anything greater than knowledge. You know, I always loved reading. That was always my thing. And I always loved Hadith since I was a teenager. So when I found out that there's a go there and sit in a village and memorize Hadith, and shoot, I couldn't imagine anything else in this life that I would want to be doing better than that. So even now, there's nothing else that I can imagine with my time that I could be doing better.
Ustad, can you give us guidance on how to lead a team successfully?
Lead a team successfully? I mean, I've never done that, so I can't have read books. I guess John Maxwell, he wrote a book. It's called the seven something laws of teamwork. And another guy, he wrote the 5 dysfunctions of a team. But I haven't read those books yet. You know, but I mean, if you're talking about a team as far as what, Dean wise, I mean, any team, they always, I mean, look, for any group of people to be successful, everybody has to be working towards the same thing. As soon as one person decides that their agenda is more important, they're going to destroy everything. That one person will destroy everything. So, I mean, if you want to have a successful, we're talking about Dean, and everybody has to, like, you know, the foundation of this Dean, the promotion of this Dean has to be what we're working towards together. You know, if anyone from amongst us uses the team to self-promote or to promote something outside, we're gonna fail. We're gonna fail. You know, that's the ball hog. You know, that's the guy that wants to, you know, give me the ball type of person. You can't have that, you know, because no one person is gonna be successful to the point of doing something great where you're gonna spread the Deen around America by yourself. You have to have, you know, people around you. All the Anbiya had people around them, had companions, had hawariyun. All of the Anbiya, except for that one that had no followers. He had none. But I mean, all the other Anbiya, all of them had companions, ashab, and they had hawariyun, protectors. You know, and these are the people that stood up and helped them promote the Deen and protected them. So I mean, you have to have a strong team, and they all have to be working towards establishment of this Deen, Tawheed and the Sunnah. You got anybody amongst the group that you have to get them out, because you leave that bad apple amongst the good apples, what happens? They'll start to corrupt the good apples, and then it's going to destroy everything that you've done. So, you know, that's why once you start to see those signs, you got to get rid of people. Huh? Nah, I don't know. Let's look that up in inshallah after the class.
Ustad, what do you think of the majority of MSAs in the universities in the West? SubhanAllah, the MSA near me are setting up a movie now.
I don't, because I never went to college. So, most of them, they follow these Islamic centers and they follow. I mean, the only MSA that I've ever seen that was like impressed me was the one in the University of Southern California, USC, and that's because all of the MSA, all of the heads of MSA became students of Fareed, and they all became Salafis, all of them, the heads, and they started promoting the Sunnah in the university. But that was a long time ago. If that's what they're doing, I mean, first off, a Muslim has no business being in those universities in the first place, much less setting up an organization. And then what most of their talks involve free mixing, involve like again, this whole we're all brothers, let's all come together. They're not promoting the Sunnah. They're promoting Western culture, Western behavior, Western culture, Western tradition, Western ethics, Western everything. So they're not promoting the deen. And most of them, they're the most ignorant people of the deen. In fact, they've spent their lives trying to meet their parents' wishes of getting a high GPA so they could get into the college that they got into. They haven't been studying the deen. You're not going to be, where are you going to study the deen when you have like 5 or 6 subjects in school and you're trying to maintain a 4.0 GPA? Or because you have like college subjects like you guys, so you get extra, so you get 4.5. You're trying to maintain that perfect GPA. How are you going to have time to study Islam? So these guys, when they get to college, they don't know nothing about Islam. They're the most ignorant people of Islam. So for them to run around and talk about they're giving dawah, knowledge is a prerequisite of dawah. And for them to go around and even set up and then look what they do. Let's have movie night. Let's have pizza and invite the kuffar. We got Becky and her friends with Tom and his friends, and we're eating pizza together, and we'll have movie night, and we're going to call this dawah. This is fasad fil ard. It's fasad fil ard. And the khair, only the people that follow the sunnah, I mean, alhamdulillah, those are the people that you're going to see good coming. One more question, man, because it's almost 9:30. Or maybe 2 more questions, depends on.
You said, is it wrong for us to say that our cat is our child?
No, you can't say it. I've never heard anybody say the cat is a child. Astaghfirullah. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that you have more hope in life than to start calling the cat your child. I mean, I love cats, but I can't love a cat to the point where I'm like, that's my child. And by the way, Garfield came back to get it today.
Oh, really?
Hey, no, he's gone, huh? Huh? Yeah, he was here earlier today. We wouldn't let him out, man. He came here, ate food. We just kept him in. We're like, nah, man, we haven't seen you in a month or 2 months now. Man, you ain't going nowhere.
Was the jihad in Afghanistan?
No, we already talked about that.
Oh, we did.
What about that?
Mustafa, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. 9:28. Huh? You want to eat it? You want to eat a Sharpie?
What is the hikmah of the...
Take it. Huh? What? Man, it is not hot, but it is humid, ain't it, man?
If a masjid of Al-Sunnah don't see videos to be haram and have a camera out and are recording the lesson,
All right, we're just gonna have to answer this last question without the microphone because the microphones are dying. But I was saying that it's not permissible to record the videos, not in the masjid, not out of the masjid. What I was doing was wrong, and may Allah forgive me, but doing it in the masjid is even worse. So if you see that going on, then it's you have every right. I mean, it's your duty. If you see that going on, to make inqar on the munkar. And we have to go because I have to give my son his medicine. إلهنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Is it?